Welcome everybody from Hashtag Nation. What is going on? We're here after another Bills victory. It's getting old, but let's go.
Oh my God! Time out. Time out. Where did that thing come from?
You know, when the kids, they progress in their bikes, they don't want the horn on it anymore. So I decided to use it.
Oh, Mario. Oh, buddy. Okay.
All right. Welcome everybody in. Hashtag Sports. You can find all of our socials: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All episodes will be on iTunes and Spotify. We're gonna be talking about the Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins, 31-21 victory against a second consecutive divisional opponent, and as well as preview the New Orleans Saints that are coming into town. So I obviously have my two esteemed colleagues here, Ryan and Paul. We're gonna have some laughs. We're gonna have some fun, but obviously we've got to get right into it. Paul, as in every post game, what'd you think? What'd you think of the Dolphins game, man? I know it was on Thursday, so that does make this a victory Monday, as Daniel Gallery says.
Yeah,
but what'd you think?
I was a little disappointed, to be honest, that the Bills didn't win by 40. It was like Mike McDaniel's job or bust for me. Like, I wasn't going to accept anything other than get Mike McDaniel fired. And then the Miami felt so emboldened to state they're going to be patient with McDaniels right now. I don't know how you could be more patient. Hasn't this all been patience? Like, this whole thing? The only thing more patient is maybe Belichick's girlfriend waiting for the Cialis and Vicodin to kick in. But besides that, I mean, the game was just fine. The game was just fine, right? Like, I understand that it felt tight there for a little bit, but Miami really just, if it's longer than 6 yards, it just doesn't exist for them, as an offense.
Yeah.
Buffalo really was in control. I mean, what was it? 3 consecutive 3-and-outs. Like that's scary territory. Don't like that. That was the biggest bugaboo to me, was coming out of half. You just couldn't get back on the horse. And I took a Terrell Bernard interception to get you back and get your mojo back. So, I mean, if I had a concern, like, that's it, but I feel like I'm kind of being a little petty. Assuming that's the deal there,
Well, I mean, it was a lot closer than it was, because the Bills technically only, aside from the kneel down, only had 3 possessions in the first half. I mean, when does that happen? Right. I think McDaniel designed a beautiful game plan for the Buffalo Bills defense. He's seen it enough. He knows what works, what's open, what he can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I had stated after the game, I said, McDaniel offensively called the perfect offensive game. Tua almost played the perfect offensive game, with the exception of that one misfire. And we got to remember, last year they lost to the Dolphins. I believe it was the second matchup, or they beat the Dolphins in the second matchup. That game wasn't because of Tua. Like, they didn't lose that game because of Tua. This game, obviously, with the interception, you could say it was Tua's fault. He made one mistake. But majority of that, they played them as tough as they could, and he essentially played like a guy whose job was on the line. You know what I mean? Ryan, what'd you think of the game?
I mean, I thought it was really the Bills kind of playing with their food type of situation. I think they got a little bit behind, and I think they kind of caught them off guard as they went forward in the game. And I think it was one of those things where they had initially,
came out hot against the Dolphins, came down, drove right down the field and scored. Buffalo got the ball back. They drove right down the field and scored. And it was almost like Josh kind of like didn't really lock in until like late in the game. And that was kind of interesting to see. But the team was kind of like, I don't know, I guess, like I said, playing with their food almost. And I think they kind of underestimated, how much fight Miami would have in them. I think everybody thought that this was kind of like a, the Waterloo of Mike McDaniel. And it turned out to not be that. And I think Buffalo realized it late in the game. And then finally they were like, oh, that's right. Like, we've got that dude on the other sideline. And, when you've got that dude on the sideline in Josh Allen, like, just go make one play for the defense and like the game's over. So I think by and large, the game never really felt close. Even though it was obviously, a touchdown game up until that Bernard interception. But I mean, even when you listen to like Miami radio, like I listen to Levitard and friends every day, you know, and even they were talking on Friday. They were like, nobody ever actually thought they were going to win that game, right? Like nobody thought Miami was actually going to win that football game. And I think that speaks to how good the Bills are and how bad like a lot of football teams are this week. That's my prevailing takeaway from this weekend. I just think there's a lot of bad football teams in the NFL this year. I think there's like 5 good football teams and everybody else is just really, really bad.
I think the start of the season with having a lot of teams play divisional matchups was kind of tricky. I think that was, I believe week 2, didn't everybody have a divisional matchup on week 2?
Yeah.
And then week 3, it was kind of sporadic and all over the place. But I mean, you talk about the Saints. I think they played 3 West teams to start the season, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check it. The Cardinals, Niners, and Seahawks. They lost all of them, and that's one heck of a place to go. And you got the Saints. Obviously, we're going to talk about them a little bit later, but they go up to Seattle, and now they got to come to Buffalo. Like the travel for teams that really are not marquee teams is really unfair to a degree.
You really think that's a factor there, Mar? Like,
I think when you're not a very good football team, as the Saints are, I think they're in a rebuild. Obviously, you want to take every little advantage as you can. I mean, you could use it to your advantage as, oh, look at the league, they don't care about us, they're doing this, and you can use it as kind of a motivational tool. But I think it does. I think it plays a part. I mean, if the Buffalo Bills had to travel to LA and then play in London and then come back and play the Chiefs, I think a lot of Bills fans would say, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. And then you look at it in that respect. I mean, the Buffalo Bills get the Dolphins early at home, then you get the Saints at home, which I gotta be honest with you guys. And I want Ryan to answer this first, and then I'll kick it to you, Paul. Is this a game where you could conceivably rest guys that are maybe on the fringe, that you maybe they're not hurt, but yeah, we'll give you another week off? Or do the Saints pose any type of threat if you have a significant number of key players out?
No,
not at all.
I mean, this Saints team. I mean, guys, like Seattle's not a great football team, right? Like we can all agree that Sam Darnold's not a great quarterback. Like their number one weapon's JSN. They got Kenneth Walker at running back. Like this is not a great offense, and they dropped almost 50 on this Saints team. Like that's again, 2 bad football teams, but the Saints are probably in the running for the worst team in the NFL right now. Like I honestly think the Carolina Panthers probably will beat the Saints when they match up in a couple weeks. I think the Saints are just bad. Like Alvin Kamara's over the hill. Like you can see it in the way he plays. They've got one weapon, Chris Olave, and he's a shot. He's like Tua, right? Like he's a shot away from just being out for weeks. And yeah, I mean, they just don't have much way to put up I mean, their number 2 receiver, like a 33-year-old Brandon Cooks. Like, what are we talking about here from the offensive side of the football, right? Like, this is not a good team. Name a defensive player that plays for the Saints. Like, they just don't have any, so to your point, Mario, like, is this a game where you look to sit guys? Like, is this a game where if Ed Oliver is like a game time decision, do you decide to sit him for one more week? Probably. Like, that's probably the decision that you make.
Yeah.
Is this an opportunity for you to get out early? Does McDermott have these conversations and be like, guys, can we just get out? Let's just get a 3 touchdown lead and let's plan on resting everybody for the fourth quarter, situation. But coming off of 11 days rest, like, you got to think that, I mean, the injury report came out today and like, or it'll be tomorrow. We'll get the first injury report, but I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't very many guys on the injury report in general because of how much time they've got between games.
Yeah.
So their leading receiver is Juwan Johnson.
I knew you were going to say something about that.
Here we are, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Talking
the
about,
2025
right?
New Orleans Saints. I personally, like, when you pull back and look at where the Saints have gone and where they're going, they've got a lot of pieces they have to say goodbye to, which is a shame because, again, you've got players like Chris Olave, who's a weapon but is not protected in any way in that offense. And they've struggled to try and replace Alvin Kamara. The fact that Kamara is still your starter, your 3-down back at this point in his career, I think says a lot about where you are as a franchise. Spencer Rattler, like, if the Falcons are willing to walk away from a quarterback, you shouldn't be excited about that. So like there's a lot of problems going on with New Orleans.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is I understand what Ryan is saying, but I think it's a big culture piece, right? Where I can't imagine the messaging at one Bills drive, like, hey, let's put a 40 burger on them and let's figure out what we're getting for dinner that night.
Yeah.
Right. Like I just can't imagine that being the culture. With that being said, the Saints have a pretty raw deal getting Buffalo just coming off of Thursday. Like,
yeah, that's tough.
That's a tough pull for
Right.
an already bad team.
Well,
because they're going to get a super well rested Bills team that, again, maybe you just see a little bit more Ray Davis early on than you usually see. Maybe you see a little bit more of Tyrell Shavers than you usually see in the early goings. Because if you can get those guys involved early, then I think that more sets the pace of, hey, we're going to get some guys some snaps, rather than let's put a 40 burger on them and then everybody go take their helmets off and sit down on the sideline for the last 15 minutes of this football game. I think it probably leans a little more that maybe they game plan early for some of the underdeveloped talent, the guys that they want to get a few more snaps. They probably just game plan them into the offense a little bit earlier, as opposed to just waiting for the scoreboard to look like a massacre and then letting those guys play after. But I mean, Mar, you've seen what the script looks like for this team, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that we could see on Sunday?
A lot of people had a lot of comments after the game because the Dolphins game was as close as it was. People were like, "Oh, why are they saving plays? Why is Brady doing this? Why is Brady doing that?" Blah blah blah. And the truth is, when you're a team that's in that upper echelon, I believe that there are plays that they do put in the holster and say, "Okay, we're not showing this. We're not showing this. We're going to go in. We can go in with our basic game plan, not do anything really exotic, and we could take this team out." And I think the Saints are going to be a prime example of that. Obviously, Steve Hampton in the comments says, "I still expect to see 900 comments this week, dubbing this a trap game." And the weird part about that, Steve, is it's a great comment because in the past, the Buffalo Bills, and I think Ryan said this in the chat, Bills and Ravens to me are the two elite teams in the league, and there's nobody else that's even close. There may be other teams that are good, that have good weeks. Consistently being a dominant force, it's the Bills and the Ravens for me. And then you start to think in the past, oh, the Jet game, they should kill them. And then everyone's like, that's kind of like how the Bills in the past would beat them by 3, or they beat them by like 4 or whatever, and it would happen. And then, oh, we're going to the Dolphins. They're 0-2. We should massacre them. And it's a close game late, but they still find a way to win, albeit with the help of a roughing the punter call where they were able to put it away. You won 2 games by 10 points and 20 points. And games that Buffalo Bills of years past, the teams would be like barely eking by, or even maybe lose one of those 2. You know what I mean? It's weird. So I think they are so in control of what they're doing, and they realize that it's a marathon, not a sprint, that they're going to be like, okay, we do have an NFL team technically coming into Buffalo. We can't just mail this in and be like, okay, because when you have a team like that that's 0-3, the number one thing you worry about is injuries. The number 2 thing you worry about is the fact that this Saints team really has nothing they could pull a flea flicker on the first play or anything else. Great. We're going to go onside kick to start the game. Like, they don't have anything to lose at this point. And when you play a
that would
team
be
like
against the rules now, Mario.
well,
I feel like that would be against the rules.
I
now.
know. You got to be within one score.
Is this
You gotta be within one
Mario?
score.
They got nothing to lose. That makes us a very dangerous football team, right?
I know. I mean, it's funny you're quoting the movie, but they really don't. They really have nothing. What do they have to lose at this point? I mean, you're just, as Bills fans, you're worried about get out of here with a W, number 1. Number 2, get out of here healthy. Don't have any kind of crippling injuries to your ball club. And usually when you take teams lightly, that's when those injuries occur. So that's when I'm terrified of going into Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, I think to Paul's point, right? Like, I don't necessarily think they're going to take this team lightly. I don't think that's in the dynamic that McDermott brings to this team, right? As the head coach, like, I don't think they take anybody lightly. I think he, by and large, like, over schemes things defensively. We can get into that, which is, why does he always lose to Andy Reid in the playoffs, and like, why can't he, handle good offenses in the playoffs, right? Like, we can have that conversation come January, but this team is never not ready to play football to opponents. And I think when you talk about this Bills team, I mean, let's not forget. I mean, we everyone heard the stats, right? Like, this is a historic team at this point in time, and we're complaining about the way they came out of the gate against the Dolphins, or about the way they kind of like muddled through and they still dropped 30 points, right? Like, they're the longest running team in NFL history that has won the turnover battle, right? 24 straight games they've won the turnover battle. That's an NFL record. They're the only team in the NFL history since the merger, which is back in 1950, through a 3-game stretch, right, to win 3 games, score over 100 points, have fewer than 15 penalties, have more than 150 yards per game rushing, and over 250 yards per game net passing. Like, the only time that's ever happened in NFL history. And we're sitting here complaining because they struggled a little bit midway through the game against Miami, right? And they still scored 30. So I'm not, I don't think anything that you're going to see in this game is going to worry you, barring a Josh Allen injury. Like, that's the only thing at this point in time that's really going to concern me for this season going forward. They're going to beat the Saints. They're going to run away with this one. I'm not going to take the 16.5 point spread because I don't like double-digit spreads. We just talked about that. We just talked about that before the show went live, right? Like, don't take 2 touchdown favorites to cover in the NFL. Yeah. Like, this isn't college, right? Like, these good football teams, the NFLs every week. We saw this just on Sunday, right? The witching hour. We saw in a span of 5 real-time minutes, we saw 3 field goals get blocked. 2 of them got ran back for a touchdown. And one of those teams that had the field goal blocked still won the football game, right? Like, the NFL's every week. And, don't be surprised if this one's tight and Buffalo gets a garbage time touchdown to make it a 2-point or a 2-score game. But this isn't a game that the Bills are going to lose. They may sleepwalk through it again like they did against Miami. But my bet is that they won't, because they sleptwalk against Miami. I don't think McDermott's going to let it happen again.
So there have been 30 games with a spread of 16.5 or higher since 2015, and those contests have produced a 12 and 18 over/under count.
Yeah.
Right. Like, people see big, people see big spreads and they want to bet the over. Like, that's just not how those games go. Like, they're betting one team's not going to score. That's why you have a big spread. Yeah. They're betting the Saints aren't going to score. And honestly, they've had less than. What have they had? Like 4 plays over 20 yards this year. Like, that they've had 4 pass plays over 20 yards this year as an offense. Like, you're going into week 4 of the NFL season. Like, you can't. That's an inept offense.
Last week was the first time in the last, and Buffalo. Again, I mean, they play to the game, right? Like, last week was the first time in his career so far in the NFL that Josh has not completed a pass of 10 yards or more in the air. Like, it just he took 2. I think he had two throws that were more than 10 yards in air yards. The game last week, like this Miami game, like, Mario, do you know what the average air yards was with the 2 quarterbacks combined on their completions?
You
go ahead and take a guess, and just guess low, and you're
combined air yards.
So average air yards. Average air
yards.
Nah, that can't be 7. It's got to be lower than that.
It'll be 5.
1.5.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. That's it.
I mean, Tua completed more passes behind the line of scrimmage than he did ahead of the line.
Oh yeah.
Tua averaged 0.4 air yards per completion in that game. And Josh matched him, right? Like, that was the game that they needed to play, that he didn't go to the middle of the field. Like, he didn't need to do any of that stuff. So, like, they're going to match 1 for 1. I wouldn't be surprised if this is another James Cook game. Like, they just hand the ball to him 20 times, let him run for, 6 yards a carry, and, you'd barely see Josh. This is not a game I'm looking forward to starting Josh in fantasy. I don't think he's going to have a big game. I think they're going to try and keep it on the ground, keep him healthy, keep him safe. They saw what happened against the Jets when they tried to let him run around against a bad football team, and I think they're going to avoid that again.
Well, first of all, Paul, knock it off. I see what you're doing in the chat.
In the comment section?
Yes, I see what you're doing. Okay, number 1. Number 2, to Paul's point, talking about how you said earlier you thought they were going to drop so many points on Miami. They still dropped 31 in the first game. They had 12 possessions against the Ravens. They had 11 possessions against the Jets. That's counting a kneel down. They had 9 possessions, total possessions again. And in the first half, They had 3 possessions where they drove. They have 2 touchdowns and a missed field goal. So, like, if they would have had a Baltimore Jet type of game with more possession, they probably would have dropped 40. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in that respect, you got to take each game as they come. But like to Ryan's point, you know, or not to Ryan's. I'm sorry, it was in the chat. Let me just get it right real quick. He was talking about the field goals getting blocked and the special teams.
That's a great point there, right? There's Caden that talked about
Caden
that mentioned field goals. Like, great point, because there's been a ton of block kicks around the league. Like, there's a lot to learn about how other teams are attacking field goals, because there's been a bunch of block kicks already this season.
And they're all right up the middle, too. Like, that's the weird part about this. Like, teams have figured something out. Like, that Jets game, the guy just, like, jumped right over the long snapper, blocked it, and then ran it back for a touchdown. Then you had Jalen Carter, who just, you know, absolutely blew through the long snapper in that one. And we even saw Reed get blown up in that Miami game, right? And if it weren't for that penalty, like, you know, that one would have been far more interesting. But Reed got absolutely, I mean, he was standing on his head at one point after that hit. So you're right, Paul. Like, it seems like it's almost, I almost wonder if it's like the kickoff rules, like the way that they've changed the kickoff rules, like have teams decided to kind of focus in a little bit more on special teams because it can be such a big part of the game. You saw the Miami New England game. You know, you've seen, I think, more kicks run back this year through the first 3 games than you've ever seen in the NFL. And again, we talked about the blocked field goals. Like, even Prater's field goal that he missed against Miami, I looked like somebody might have gotten a hand on that one. But
don't apologize for the old man. Don't apologize.
Well,
he kicked that with his ankle. He kicked it with his ankle, dude.
I don't want Bass back.
Well, actually, I think didn't Seattle run a punt back on the Saints last week?
Yeah,
man.
Yep.
What a rough game. They had a blocked punt, and then they returned a punt for a score against the Saints last week.
Yeah. What worries me is if we're going to connect the Dolphins and the Saints, the 10 for 15 on 3rd down is really bothersome for me with the Miami Dolphins. I mean, I talked about how McDaniel called the game that he called. He couldn't have called it any better. He did call it like his job was on the line, which it was. But the Bills, with the inability to stop them, obviously you stopped an inept Justin Fields. I mean, do you even count that as far as Ryan even said it after week 1. The one thing that he wanted to see in week 2 was them tighten up against the run. They did that. You don't have a very tough, powerful running team in the Dolphins coming at you. So, okay, you still got to get off the field, though. 10 for 15. And a lot of those that I think at one point they were like 8 for 8 or something like that. And it was insane. Like the amount of times they were extending drives and keeping Josh on the sideline. It's games like that worry you, because like, who's going to take that blueprint and has better talent to execute it to keep Josh on the sideline? Now it's weird because we were talking about the Saints. Obviously the Saints don't have to do it, but I was just looking, they have 4 out of their 5 starting offensive linemen are 1st-round picks. 2 of them are on IR or injured right now, but 4 out of the 5, you were talking about earlier, Paul, them coming in, you're like, listen, you can build around that line. Trust me, you can build around it. But as for this game coming up, to Ryan's point, I can only name Chase Young, and he's hurt. So sorry, Ryan, I can't name anybody else on the Saints. I apologize for that.
They have somebody that's like top 5 in the league in tackles. Hold on 1 second. I mean, give me 1 second. Oh, Demario Davis.
That's bound to
Demario Davis. He's number 4 in the league in tackles.
Well, when you're on the field that much, sheesh. Wasn't Nigel Bradham leading the league in tackles at one point when he played?
We don't need to go that direction again with our life now, do we? I don't need that. Nobody here does.
Listen, you have a Terrence McGee autograph. You're going to get all the Nigel Bradham hate as you can.
I saw a comment, and it is time to talk about it because, again, you're looking at this game as maybe an opportunity to get people, some snaps. Landon Jackson sounds like he might be pup return, right? Like we might get a Landon Jackson sighting soon. Does he return from pup?
He was inactive Sunday, right, or Thursday, right?
I believe so.
Right. Correct. Yeah. So that's what I mean, right? We might get your Landon Jackson sighting here. At some point, you got to know, right? Because
Yeah.
you have guys coming off a suspension soon. Like, at some point, you got to know what you have. Again, it's a little early to pressure test it, but I mean, why not, right? Are we in a scenario of why not? Like, I can't say that I was impressed with the Bills' pressure on the corners. Like, I haven't been, right? Like, me personally, I haven't been. So, is this the first official game for Landon Jackson? Do you actually get to see him?
I mean,
I think in favor of Solomon. I think yeah. I mean, Solomon plays special teams, but I mean, by and large, you know, I don't know why you wouldn't play Jackson instead of Solomon. Unless there's an injury across the defensive line that we haven't been made aware of as of yet, but I think that makes the most logical sense to me, Paul.
Yeah, take out Hamlin. We don't need him.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, they're not going to do Hamlin for a defensive end. Like,
I would.
They're going to go position for position.
You guys literally have told me that it doesn't matter who suits up for this game.
Oh, let's not go that. No. Nobody said that. What?
Yes,
my
you
God.
did.
Is this what being married to you is like? Good grief.
It's been 12 years. You should know.
Before we go any further, I want to give a big shout out to our buddy Sean Rogers. He actually was on local Buffalo radio recently. He was on Big Weck, the Oldies channel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did an interview segment with them. So if you're looking for real estate in the Arizona area, make sure you hit Sean up. Description of this video, and of course, check out his YouTube page, Mr. Rogers Homes, for all your Arizona real estate needs. Thanks, Sean.
So yeah, Steve comes in and says I would also limit Bosa to 25 to 30 snaps and let Jackson eat some of those reps. You know, sometimes there's not a lot to complain about being a Bills fan right now. But I mean, you know, we try to look at everything as objectively as we can. Bosa sometimes sets the edge like Jerry Hughes, and it's very upsetting sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you got to set the edge. You've played two and a half quarterbacks that are fairly mobile. Like, can you stop?
Yeah, but let's talk about that real quick. I think that's a fascinating point, Mar. So, and maybe this is a topic for an episode, right? Maybe this is an episode, but if you look at his career arc, right? When hasn't he just been the dog on that defense?
That's true,
right?
That's
like
true.
The responsibility is irrelevant. You just say go be the best athlete at the defensive end position in your division, and just go be that guy. And unfortunately, that guy hasn't been healthy the last few seasons.
Yeah,
and at some point, you have to see the writing on the wall when you need to change approaches. And there's a lot of times where I see Bosa, where I see the flashes of that player. And then there's other times I go and I say, I feel like there should have been more discipline there, right?
Yeah.
For a guy this deep in his career, there should have been more discipline there. But again, at times I feel like I'm being nitpicky, because
that's fine.
And you think so?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, am I alone on this island? Because
no, I mean, because of what you decided to. Now, you think of it from this perspective. Every time they bring in a free agent, it's taking away from a player that they either drafted or acquired in some other fashion. Most of the times it's when guys that they drafted. You just sign Epineza to whatever you sign Epineza to. Paul, you got the numbers. And then you bring in Bosa. No, but what I'm saying is
whatever we gave Epineza money to.
You're taking snaps away from guys like that. I remember a couple of years ago when Christian McCaffrey was being whispered around Buffalo. You're like, you gotta get McCaffrey. You would have effectively stunted the growth of James Cook by doing that. So when you want these guys to come in, you want them to do this, and you guys say, okay, yeah, you're an elite player. You're a guy that's gonna garner some attention over there. You're taking away from a guy that you drafted and you want to try to develop because he's playing behind him. And I understand that there's not anybody better than Bosa, like right now over on that side. So it's
Mario. Do you know what you reminded me of just now?
What I do?
I saw a wild tweet on Twitter. Do you guys remember when the Bills traded for J.D. McKissick and then that fell through?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do.
So there's somebody tweeted out that they remember, they go back to that because that was a pre-draft trade, remember?
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
question that they came up with, and then Buffalo went on to draft James Cook in that draft. And the question was, if they finalize that J.D. McKissick trade, do they draft Cook in that draft?
But hold on,
Fair
wasn't
point.
the McKissick? Didn't we end up trading for Naeem Hines?
Yeah, but Naeem Hines was after the draft. They were
Okay.
able to cobble that together. Because remember, that was, I think, before the preseason or during the preseason. I think they brought.
Yeah,
they brought
the
Naeem
timing of
Hines
it, I
in.
just don't remember.
Yeah, but no, I mean J.D. McKissick was pre-draft, and then
Yeah.
they wound up drafting James
I
Cook.
I don't know if that really, because we've seen them do that many. They
Strikes me like an
signed
AJ Yeldon.
they signed Yeldon
sort of
before they
thing.
drafted
Yeah.
Singletary, so it might have still been one of those things where they just wanted insurance before, and then they got the insurance after with Hines. So I don't know, with the history that they have, we could pretty much bank on a lot of things that they're going to do. I mean, Paul's highlighted it multiple times. They're leaving the draft with a couple tackles on both sides of the ball. They're going to leave with a corner. They're going to leave with, some kind of a running back or a skill position. You know what I mean? It's like you can pretty much bank on what they're going to leave with based on, unless they have any severe needs. Like, you don't see any severe needs right now other than what they addressed in Hairston, but he hasn't played yet. But so, I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting to see who is inactive for the Saints game based on obviously the opponent that you have and how do you feel about what's going on, what's currently going on in the locker room with some of the injuries that you have. So, I mean, I'm not against putting Bosa on a snap count and letting Jackson go in there and hunt. I mean, I think it's going to create a lot of talk for a lot of people saying if Jackson goes out there and splits time with Bosa and has like 2 sacks, the crowd, there's going to be the crowd out there that says, why did we get Bosa when we got him, and blah, 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 and all. Stop. You know what's going on. Don't act stupid.
So can we just, like, now that we're 3 weeks deep, can we talk about Trey White, the cornerback, right now versus like when he was signed? Because again, I think people hear the name Trey and they're excited that he's back, and they kind of forget that, he happened through several NFL teams last year, right? and neither of the stops went well. And he gets back to Buffalo. And, what's your take on Trey White so far? Because I know when you signed him, you also had Hairston, right? You ended up drafting Hairston. Hairston goes down. I don't think Trey White, number 1 corner, was your ideal scenario. Benford, I think, has been at times been well worth every penny that you're paying him. But let's talk about Trey White, the corner, and look at the next few weeks and then say, okay, what is our level of expectation here? Because the Bills' schedule's pretty weak the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So, are people going to get this false sense of security that Trey White is back to, rookie contract Trey White?
No, God, no.
Yeah.
Waddle ate his lunch.
Yeah.
On a lot of those plays. I mean, I see him. And Paul, I like bringing this up, and I'll kick this over to Ryan in a second, but I have to bring up this point. I bring it up every single time. Trey White was not drafted to lock down the fastest guy on the team. That's literally why you saw him on Waddle. Like, you couldn't put him on Hill. It just did not work. He is a tough physical corner that will get in the face of one of the most physical wide receivers that you have on the other team. He's not going to run stride for stride with the fastest guy. And given his injury history, he's not going to do that now. But we all know the history of last time he played the Saints was not good on him. But, I mean, I think he fills that spot for you until Hairston's back. And I think you put Hairston in there for maybe a stretch in there. I don't think you put him in there against the Chiefs if that's the first game that he's going to be coming back for. I don't think you put Hairston in there for that one. I think you give it to White just based on experience. But other than that, you can have him. Let me look at the schedule, and I'll let you know. Ryan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Trey has done, I mean, Trey has solidified the corner position opposite of Benford, which I think was desperately needed last year. I think they really struggled to figure out who was going to be the guy opposite Benford last year, right? And I think Trey White has been, I think I think surprising for me at least, because I didn't think that he'd be as solid in run defense as he's been at his age. I mean, yeah, has he been great in coverage? You can argue no, right? Like he allowed, he was targeted 6 times on Thursday and they completed 5 passes. But he only allowed 27 yards, right? So I mean, I think you give and take, take what you will from PFF. I mean, he's graded out as like the 31st best corner in the league right now.
Yeah.
But a lot of that has to do with run defense. The fact that he's better than average in run defense. And it's also that he's not tailing the number 1 receiver, right? Which is why Benford's ranked lower than him right now, because just from a coverage grade perspective, like that's going to happen. So I think what Trey brings is some much needed continuity in the secondary. I think Rapp is really struggling at the free safety position, but you saw things settle down in that Jets game, and that's because Trey was back, and you saw things kind of settle down a little bit in that Miami game. And again, I think that had a lot to do with Trey being back. You kind of saw Tehran be able to kind of roam around a little bit more against Miami than he did in previous games. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that like Benford's got one side, Trey's got the other, everybody else figure everything else out. And Trey's going to make sure that guys are where they need to be from a coverage perspective. But his coverage in the run game, I think, has been better than they've seen at the cornerback position since he left probably, 2-3 seasons ago. So I mean, Trey's been fine for me. Like we joke about moving him to safety. Like we joke about, okay, when's Max Harrison coming back? Like they've got the luxury now that when they bring Harrison back, like they don't have to rush him back because there's stability at that cornerback position for right now. And as long as you've got a number 1 in Benford and a number 2 in Trey White and a slot corner that you have in Taron Johnson, like I think they're probably top 10 in the league in terms of cornerback situations. Like I think there's a lot of football teams out there right now that are good football teams that would be like, we would kill for those 3 corners to be playing on our football team. Trey's probably 3rd out of those 3. But, I think, again, adding stability opposite your big money corner in Benford, I think has done a lot for this team.
Yeah, and you have kind of a reverse of what we've been experiencing in the quote unquote Josh Allen era, when the solidifying force was the 2 safeties back there and the corners were having to try to figure it out here and there, and they weren't doing it. Now you have the corners that are the veterans trying to help out the safeties, and they're the ones that are blitzing. Because they're right there, you know what I mean? I mean,
man, did Trey have 2 with dead to rights on that one play, man? It's just painful to watch, and that's what's hurting him, is that the blitz, his ability to bring pressure through the passing game, like when he does blitz, like he's been abysmal at that this season. But if he can figure that out, like you've got something there opposite Benford now.
That feels like a trust thing in your body, right? Yeah. Because Steve Hampton just mentioned it in the comments section. He said, whenever a running back seems to come, or whenever a receiver seems to come back to the quarterback, it's always on Trey, and Trey's sitting, letting an easy reception happen. Listen, stop starts, man, those are ACL killers. So, that's a trust piece. And he had a tough recovery.
Yeah,
he had it hard. It was not an easy recovery for him. So it does make you wonder if he fully is ever going to be that player again who fully trusts his body, right? It takes a long time to get over stuff like that. But one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this was because of the PFF grade, right? Because it looks like Trey is a world beater and an incredible value, and the rest of the league just didn't know that there was still gas left in the tank. And when your upcoming games are the Saints, the Patriots, the Falcons, and the Panthers, everybody's probably going to be feeling pretty good about the secondary of this football team, 4 weeks from now.
Yeah, it depends what car you're driving, Paul. To be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, he's back in Buffalo. That's the only place he had value, if you want to think about it. And the other thing is this, Paul, when is Harrison scheduled to come back? Do you know when he's scheduled?
He can come back after this game.
After week 4?
Technically after this game, but we haven't. The Bills are so tight-lipped on stuff like this. We don't actually know how he's doing.
Well, my point is this. That's true. Okay. Well, my point is this. Is it a situation where you want to have him play against the Pats, Falcons, and Panthers to prep him for the Chiefs, or do you bring him back slowly and have him play Dolphins, Bucks, Texans, Steelers?
I think go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, to me, if he does play snaps, before the Chiefs games, they're just going to be preseason level snaps, right? You're just going to put him out there 15, 20 snaps at maximum, right? Like you're really going to take kid gloves with him. There's a huge investment in that kid.
Yeah.
Huge investment.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs run concepts at you that you have to be on your A game for, and that would be unfair to put him in there after playing 40 snaps in the 2 to 3 games previously. That just doesn't seem reasonable to throw a rookie out there with 40 NFL snaps in. You'd be better off just going with what you got.
Yeah, I mean, unless the plan is to bring him back for that Chiefs game and say just go run with Worthy, right? Like, I mean, if it's just go run with the kid, like there's not a better corner in the league that you would rather have running. Just go follow him, right? Go follow him and just run with him. Don't let him get behind you. I think Mario, whenever they bring him back, I think what McDermott's looking at from Trey White's play will be like, what a luxury, right? Like what a luxury. Like I've got Christian Benford is one of the better corners in the league. I've got Trey White, who's being as solid as can be. I've got Teron Johnson, who's arguably the best slot corner in the league. And now I get a first-round pick that's blazing fast, long, big. Like, what a problem to have is how do we get this kid on the field? And, I think if that secondary continues to stay healthy and then you add in Hairston, it's similar to the defensive line where it's like, hey, we're staying healthy. And, oh, by the way, like we're adding in, 2 other guys that were high price free agent signings. Like this defense is going to look entirely different come Kansas City. And I think that's a huge luxury for a team in Buffalo because, do you make the argument that you hold those guys out, play them in, spot roles until Kansas City, and then you're able to walk into Kansas City and give them a completely different defensive look than you've given them over the last few seasons? I mean, maybe that's something that they're thinking about at that point in time. Packages up until that point for these guys.
Yeah, and I mean, Ryan, that's an interesting point that you're making, right? Because Buffalo, I think, over time has only adapted throughout the season due to injury, right? Attrition was the only reason that Buffalo seemed to move the needle with any sort of change from week 1 to week 17. And that's been this way under McDermott for quite some time, where the defense just struggles to kind of, not evolve, but you need to be able to adapt and make sure that you're just not predictable. And I think when you come to playoff football, everybody goes, well, we've seen the Bills do the same thing for 17 weeks. Like it's just, they're not hiding anything in the cupboard. We know exactly what they're made
banged
of.
up, right? Like
they're banged up at that point.
Yeah.
I think 2 things that are very, very interesting is it's going to be interesting to see how the Chiefs progress, because we always mark that on the calendar because that's the team that the Buffalo Bills haven't been able to get by. But we've seen the Chiefs in 3 games now not play like the Chiefs that it's weird because the Bills have always tried to equip their team to beat the Chiefs. And now they have to beat the Ravens. And you want to talk about 2 teams being at the opposite ends of the spectrum as far as offensive gameplay. I mean, we saw it. That's number 1. Number 2, speaking of the Chiefs, I told Paul this a while ago, and he had a very, very interesting response to it. I'll let him repeat it for you now.
Like I remember.
I was going to say.
Okay.
The way you guys are talking about Hairston, I compared him to the Bills' equivalent of Xavier Worthy on the defensive side of the ball. Like he's not 100% guaranteed, like he has to be on the field, but what a nice piece to have when he's there. You know what I mean? It's gonna be so interesting to see how this kid plays and how his youth and enthusiasm will probably be infectious for a lot of the guys that are out there. But it's going to be so interesting to see him there. Like, I compared him to the defensive equivalent of Xavier Worthy. Now, I could be wrong. It's happened before. It's fine. But that's what it feels like for me. You know what I mean? Like, I know what a Chiefs fan felt like getting Xavier Worthy now. Put him with Patrick Mahomes. You want to put a corner like Max Hairston with Sean McDermott? Let's go. Let's have fun.
Yeah, I mean, again, what a luxury that they have. I mean, this is the first time that I can remember covering a McDermott defense where it's like, wait until, X, Y, and Z come in. We haven't seen this defense with them yet, right? Like usually you're losing guys early or midway through the season and you're getting them back, like Milano and, Daquan Jones and those guys where it's like, oh man, remember what that team was with them? What are they going to look like come playoff time with these guys well rested coming back from injury? Well, it doesn't work, right? Like these guys don't come back from injury and they're at 100%. Like that's not how the NFL works. But if you have the opportunity to bring, 3 guys that were up until the suspensions and all of the injuries, like slotted as starters, right? Slotted as significant players on this defense, and now you're getting them back, and you're getting them back with time to ramp up. You're getting them back with time to ramp up, be impactful, then get a bye week to stay healthy. Like, a lot of things are falling into place defensively that I don't think we've ever seen under a McDermott team. Like,
Yeah.
And add into that you're already 3 games clear in the division, right? Like, your division's a combined 1-8 outside of Buffalo. Like, you could have the division locked up by Thanksgiving, right? And then what do you do from there? Like, you also are 2 games clear of Kansas City. You got a game in hand against Baltimore. We'll see what happens tonight. You could be 2 games clear with a game in hand. Like, there's just so many things. Cincinnati's gone. Texans look horrible. Like outside of the 3 undefeated teams in the AFC, does anybody want to guess what the record is of the rest of the AFC right now? It's 12-26.
Wow.
Like, outside of the 3 undefeated teams, the rest of the AFC is 12-26.
Wow.
So
who's the third one? The Chargers and the Colts. The Chargers
and Colts.
Wow.
Yep. So again, I mean, it goes back to my original point. Like, there's a lot of bad football teams this year, and I think that this is an opportunity for Buffalo to get healthy, show some different looks to Kansas City, and then come playoff time, like, you get if Kansas City makes it again, like, now which defense do we prepare for, right? And I think that's a luxury that we haven't seen McDermott from. And as critical as I've been of McDermott, maybe this is an opportunity for him to kind of be like, hey, see what I can do with a healthy defense in the playoffs? Like, who knows? I'd love to be wrong about the guy. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that. So with that,
I'll believe it when he doesn't have Matt Milano somehow lined up on Xavier Worthy on 3rd and 14 or something.
Well, Matt Milano loves to exit stage left just about every season now, and that brings John Paul O'Keefe. When does Milano come back? Plus, do we need add another linebacker soon? To which Spin, who through his infinite wisdom obviously wants to fight Mario in a parking lot at One Bills Drive, Dorian Williams has shown he is not the answer. So I think I would just like to hear what Mario has in response to that.
I mean, what did Achane have? 62 yards. I mean, he wasn't running all over the place against them. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where Miami's kind of an anomaly because of the McDaniel offense, and it's kind of hard to. Everything is based on strict timing of the routes and plays and stuff like that. And Williams, he's more of a run guy anyway. So you're already wrong. Yes, Ben, 110%. I'm already wrong. But no, I think Williams he's still in that phase where he's learning too, man. He still has not played a full 16-game season. At the linebacker
who
position.
is he? EJ Manuel? Get off he hasn't played a full 16-game season.
How dare you bring up the ghost of that guy?
Yeah, I mean,
what's next? Kyle Orton?
Don't forget, like, I don't know how impactful he'll be, but Shaq Thompson came back last week. That was the first time we've seen him in game action.
Wild to watch.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
wild to watch.
So I mean, the question: do we need to add another linebacker? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're right. I think if you can get Matt Milano to the point where he deserves to be right now, which is situational play. Like, if you can bring Matt Milano in situationally to rush the passer, to bring a linebacker blitz, or to get a body into a tight end before they get free into the secondary, like, that's where Matt Milano, I think, is going to shine. You don't want Matt Milano at his age, the way he's been playing more than 25 defensive snaps. Like, he should be in the Joey Bosa role that we just talked about, right? Like, 20 to 25 snaps. Like, that's where he's going to be ideal. Let Bernard be Bernard, and let a rotation of Dorian Williams and Shaq Thompson in 2 to 3 tight linebacker sets. Like, that's kind of the happy middle ground right now for this defense. And I think if you add that 4 rotation in the linebacker core, along with that front 7 that's going to get better in the next couple of weeks when these guys come back from suspension, and the back end that, the safeties seem to be settling down a little bit. We talked about Trey White. Like, this defense is going to be okay under McDermott. Like, they're going to continue to win turnover battles. They're going to continue to bend, not break. Like, we've seen this story before, right? Like, the defense will be okay, and this team will go as far as Josh Allen can take them as soon as they get back and healthy.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Dorian is a good. I mean, listen, we talked about this last week with Dorian Williams, right? Like the guy was on pace at last season until they brought Matt Milano back. Like Dorian Williams was on pace to be the sixth leading tackler in the NFL. Like that doesn't happen on accident, right? That doesn't happen when guys are bad at football. They just don't. Like look at the names that finish top 10, top 15 in tackles every season. Like they're names that are good to better than
Don't do it,
average
Paul.
linebackers.
Paul's cooking something over there.
No,
I know
I'm trying to remember who was the linebacker that led the Bills. This is way back machine. Led the Bills in tackles. His first name was Nick, and they cut him the next season when Rex Ryan came in.
He went to the Colts, didn't he?
Nick Barnett.
Nick Barnett.
Nick Barnett.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm just saying that leading tacklers on teams are not always safe.
I didn't say leading tacklers on teams. I said leading tacklers.
Well, he was the leading tackler on the Bills last year.
Yeah,
if
but
I'm
I think
remembering correctly.
Who's that? Dorian Williams.
Yeah, didn't he lead the team in tackles?
Yeah, but I mean,
last
I
year?
think, but again, he was on pace to be sixth leading tackler in the
Yeah,
NFL. Those are the
that's
guys
insane.
that don't happen on accident,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah, your middle linebacker is probably going to lead your team in tackles when you're a bad football team. Like, that's supposed to happen.
Yeah,
So-
but this is true. Dorian ran right by the running back 2 times in the hole on the first drive. That is 100% accurate, and it's I don't know, man. I think sometimes the hair makes it look worse than it is. Because a lot of tension going on because of the hair coming out of the helmet. He's pretty easy to
It reminds
see
me
what
too much of
Dorian Williams
Edmonds.
I know.
is. Yeah, that's it. That's Edmonds light.
Well, I think we've reached that hour, boys.
Yeah.
I kind of liked Barnett. Can't even spell his name right.
I mean, Nick Barnett, I feel like he was an older linebacker anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He
Yeah,
when
was.
he
got
He
in, he
played
was a
for
little
San
older.
Francisco for a while, I think, before
Yeah.
he came to Buffalo. I think, if I remember.
Yeah, that was he was a very Preston Wilson or Preston Brown sort of like you'll run into me, I'm not going to run into you sort of linebacker. Like the game came to him.
I'll be here 4 yards downfield. You're fine.
I just remember, Mario, we were talking about how much money Preston Brown was going to make on the free agent market. Oh my God. We were so wrong.
Yeah.
We were so wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, and guys, remember, speaking of Tremaine Edmonds, he had 2 picks yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Just remember about Preston Brown, Paul. Everyone values players differently.
no. 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 Tremaine Edmonds catches the ball like Marshawn Lynch. Watching Lynch catch the ball out of the backfield was terrifing when he was
swallowed
in
it into his
They catch him
stomach.
on accident.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right, guys. As you guys know, hashtag Nation, when the Bills win, we roast. So you have 2 minutes to roast anything you want. Mostly it's going to be me, but I already know that. That's fine. So the clock starts now. We'll read your roasts on
Mostly be me.
while you're doing something for all that money, right, Fetus? That's funny.
The last time, everyone remember the last time the Saints came to Buffalo? Remember how
I
that,
do
how
not.
that worked out? Wasn't
that
that the game that they had like 700 yards rushing or something? Like some obscene number? Didn't they run all over, up and down the Bills? I got to look it up now. I seem to remember.
I don't
They
know.
dropped like
That's
40
crazy.
on them.
Was this Chris? What generation of the Saints was this? Was this Sean Payton
This
Saints?
is
Is
like
Is
7
this
or 8
Chris
years ago, I think.
Ivory?
I think it was
Chris
7 or 8
Ivory
years
and
ago.
Alvin Kamara Saints?
No,
What was the last game? 2017?
2017, 47-10.
Oh,
That
my
finished.
Lord. That is abysmal.
That was the one. Mark Ingram led them in rushing
Ah,
for 131 yards and 3 touchdowns. Drew Brees only threw for 184 yards.
Tyrod threw for 56.
Nathan Peterman was the leading passer for the Bills with 79 yards and a touchdown. Kelvin Benjamin was the leading receiver, 42 yards, 3 catches.
Paul, did we do a post game for that? We had to have.
We must have. Oh God, I had to go back to that one.
Oh, there's
Meanwhile-
one for you. Reverse that hat. We got ourselves
Yeah.
a Fred Durst.
Yeah. Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, come on now. It's not a fitted hat. I'm not going to have the triangle of doom on my forehead. Look at no, not doing that.
Looks like a Dorito.
Oh, Mario,
That's what I
Mario,
mean.
here, Mario and Paul. Here's one for you. Who were the leading tacklers for the Saints and the Bills? 2017. Who were the leading tacklers in
Oh
that,
my
that game?
God.
Now Paul should know the Bills.
Well, let's go. Mario had to shave his beard because he had to afford all that hair product.
Terrence McGee.
Okay.
No.
That's what you mean.
Think a position we were just talking about.
Yeah,
Ramon Humber was
Oh
leading tackler
no!
for the Bills. 10 tackles.
Not Ramon.
And the leading tackler for the Saints, Manti Te'o.
Oh,
Stop.
Yeah,
career
man.
games for both. Man, I can't believe I don't remember this stuff.
We just
we got
bury awful things like that.
We got some great roasts here. Mario's hair is on the pup list.
It take longer than
Corey,
4 weeks, bro.
Ryan has resting Bills drought
Drought
face.
face.
Yeah, man. I can't shake it.
You know, it's all the Jenny. It's your love of Jenny Cream Ale.
Yeah,
That's
there
what
it is.
it's your love of
There
Jenny
it is.
Cream
I
Ale.
do love the screamers.
What's wrong? Oh my God. I can't. All right, guys, that's it for us. That's it for hashtag. We will see you next Monday for our post game, and we might have some episodes for you in the middle of the week. Yes, Mario had to shave his beard because he had to afford all that hair product he's using. That's right. Someone actually asked me today if I was standing out in the rain. I'm like, I've been in the building for 4 hours, man. I'm good. My hair's not wet.
Is it that LA gel that you can still get at Walmart?
LA
like
looks? No,
Cub?
it's not
The
LA
LA
Sparkles in
looks
it?
gel.
No,
Yeah.
it's not
Sparkles
LA.
in it.
No, it's not that. But go Bills. Make sure you follow all the socials, guys. We'll be here next Monday. As always, hashtag out.
Hello, fellow Bills fans. Sean Rogers, Realtor and lead of the Mr. Rogers Homes team. Did you know that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth? And right now is one of the best times to own an investment property in Arizona? Please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions so we can take the next step to your financial freedom here in the Valley of the Sun, utilizing real estate. As always, God bless America and go